What's up, people? Just want to talk a little bit, real quick, basically about don't let these people make you feel guilty about any of the BS going on. Don't let them make you feel guilty about climate change, pollution, all of this BS, racism, unless you consider yourself to be a racist. You know, that's pretty much the MO right now, is to make you feel guilty in order to accept everything that they're doing. You know, to make you feel like you don't like gay people, so you gotta have drag queens in your children's library, and, you know, you gotta start paying more for climate because you polluted the planet. All of this BS. It's such BS. You got the worst polluters in the world out there, India and China. No one's pointing the finger at them. China said they're gonna keep increasing carbon emissions. They're gonna peak at like 2030 before they have a chance of possibly going back down a little bit. Still building coal plants. They don't give a shit. India, you can literally walk on the water in some of the waterways in India. The canals between the houses, some of the waterways are so polluted, there's literally foam that accumulates and floats into the city. That's some of these weird cloud videos that you see, these clouds floating around. It's pollution foam, urine, and all kinds of pollutions that make this foam and literally just you know, seep out into the city. People think it's cute. Meanwhile, India, it's fine for them to spend money, millions and millions of dollars, to try and put something on the moon. Like something on the moon is going to do something for their pollution problems. Meanwhile, the thing they spent tens of millions of dollars on, or it could be hundreds of millions, I don't know, they got it up there and they lost contact with it. So they basically shot something out of a slingshot, it landed on the moon, and they can't get no data from it. That's just a waste of everything. They could have took that money into cleaning up their top 10 polluting plants. And no one says nothing about it. There's no fine towards India. They're probably in the climate agreement, the Paris Climate Pact. No criticism, nothing. Because science, you know, science, they're investigating the moon. India, that, you know, China's up there, we're up there. What the hell is India going to do that we haven't done? If we're, you know, if you want to take all of that stuff to heart. But it's a dead planet. It's a bunch of rocks. There's, if there is gold up there, they have no method of bringing it back here. You know, as if gold has some human life application. But yeah, so these people can do whatever they want. Meanwhile, we should start altering our eating habits. We should alter our straws. All it is bullshit. You know, you're gonna have to look back to science and say we've used what science has given us. We go to work every day. We don't make the chemicals that we put to kill our weeds. We don't, you know, we don't do that stuff. We didn't choose Roundup because, you know, we thought it was the best. It's what was available to us. This is what they served us. This is what they said you used it. Now all of a sudden they're telling us it's no good. Well, you created it. The world is doused in Monsanto Roundup and glyphosate. You have glyphosate in your body right now. It's in every air sample, freaking urine sample. It's in your body. It's in everything. These people have polluted the entire world with it. When you spray it on the grass and the weeds, it rains out and it goes into your waterways. So it's in every waterway. Meanwhile, you should feel guilty about it. And somehow it's your fault. These are big companies that polluted the planet with many things that you can't even pronounce. Chemicals you had no idea of. Can't even pronounce them. Conglomerations of chemicals. Nuclear pollution. That's nothing to do with any of us. We would use the cleanest method available to us that we can afford. Solar energy has been around since the 60s. The 60s, and they're just starting to make it available now. The Democrats want to shut down nuclear, shut down fracking, shut down oil and gas, and act like solar is like this big new invention. It's been around for 60 years, no one's did nothing with it. Very minimal. Solar and wind. It doesn't produce the power that oil and gas can produce. You know, think of science. That's all they keep telling you, is to believe in science, science, science. Think back of the things you use in your daily life. How many new inventions there have been since, say, 1980? And I'm not talking about better things. Cell phones have been around since probably the 70s, maybe the 60s. So yeah, we've already had cell phones then. They've improved it. We've had TVs then, it's just been improved. We've had automobiles then, it's been improved. The microwave came out in like the 70s or the 60s. So what's in your life today that's brand new, that science has gave us, that helps your life out? Pretty much nothing. The automobile, yeah, it's been tweaked. Now you got a rear view camera in your car. You've had cameras since, you know, the freaking 1800s. Just because they figured out how to put it on the back of your car, that's not really an invention. That's just a manipulation. So think about what new inventions that you use every day that really, you know, have come from science to better our lives, that didn't have an exact opposite pollution factor or detrimental factor. Like the EMF and the RF frequencies we're getting from everything. You know, the camera's been around for how long? What new inventions have they given you? Still using, you know, regular laundry detergent, you know, all kinds of bullshit. Tires, same shit. Yeah, they improved everything a little bit, but where's the inventions? People were inventing stuff back in those days, new technology, things that made your life easier, the wash machine, the dryer. Stuff's all the same now. Oh, it's digital now, it's got lights on it, big fucking deal. Gonna have to look at science and say, yes, science, whether purposefully or not, because we know most of their grants come from the government and the Carnegie Foundation and the Rockefellers, has been deliberately been held back. Everything around you looks the same. Cars looking on the road, cars really haven't changed that much since the Acura Legend came out, which had nice rounded features and whatnot. Cars look the same. Like, people are impressed by this shit. The Corvette, the nicest cars came out in the old days. Look at the Corvette Stingray. Look at the cars. They had so much character to them. You know, the cars now, everything is just rolling off the line. But people want to have a Mercedes emblem. The Mercedes looks similar to the freaking, you know, the Chevy SUV. Big deal. So people are going to still be BS by all of this bullshit. Complain about the climate. They know nothing of geoengineering. They know nothing of the EMF, the 5G, they know nothing about it. But because some German girl that's supposed to make you feel guilty because it's a girl is out there saying, we gotta act immediately, and then blah, blah, blah. A girl with autism that shouldn't even be put in those positions, because people with autism have different, you know, sensitivities. And I can't imagine that they're not just manipulating the hell out of this girl and you're supposed to fall for it. It's too much bullshit. Hollywood could be paying. Hollywood could have bought the Bahamas with all the shit going on in the Bahamas. People want to protest something, go protest Hollywood. All of these people with their ridiculous amount of money, and their athletes, ridiculous amount of money for doing pittance. The quality of acting and everything is just so terrible right now. These people are making so much money, they're doing nothing with it but sitting on it. You want to, you know, start protesting different people and Tucker Carlson, and go protest these Hollywood people and tell them to start creating foundations and organizations and handling shit. You gave them your money to watch their bullshit. Their bullshit entertainment. It's all violence, apocalypse. They got everybody, you know, everything comes out as a fear. It's the devil, good and bad, all magic, you know, all kinds of bullshit to make you believe any kind of shit except, you know, wholesome stuff. Sports, you know, if I want to watch a bunch of millionaires running around, I'll go sneak into Bohemian Grove and watch that. These sports players, like, who really cares anymore? I can't imagine people are still supporting this shit. Back in the old days, baseball players, they used to get jobs in the off season. The Mickey Mantle days, they used to be selling cars in the off season. Now these guys play for a few months out of the year, and they're set for life, and they're bitching about it, and people are supporting it. Like, are you kidding me? $10 million a year to move a ball around the field? You know, people got to start getting their priorities straight a little bit. I used to like sports, used to like the Yankees, the Cowboys, all of this bullshit, but they're out there signing on to this BS too, these different agendas. And if you can't see how they're all linked up between Hollywood and sports, the Democrats, all of these groups, all of the George Soros groups, if you can't see these connections, you know, I can't help you. The New York Times, these people are all one group. And the only cog in the wheel right now is Trump, like it or not. Not the Republicans. Not the Democrats. Trump is the only little cog in the wheel, so take what you get. May not like what he's doing, but Even for his Twitter alone, we got more than we would have got with Hillary Clinton. Just for him putting a few people in their place and letting him know that we know. You know, this is ridiculous. Country's 20-something trillion dollars in debt. And people are still bitching. I saw someone in the comments in one video talking about Trump, how he tarnished Washington, D.C. by calling it a swamp. These people have bankrupted the country and done the most heinous things around the world. And Trump has tarnished the name of Washington, D.C. by calling it a swamp, and they'll have to recover from that. It's like, if you thought there was no corruption going on in Hollywood, and it's not in D.C., and it's not a swamp, aside from the pedophilia and all of the other shit, you're really just out there. You're really out there. Trump's tarnishing the name. Unbelievable shit. Paul Joseph Washington just did a good video called Degeneracy, and that's basically what we're turning into. They've created this mentality of YOLO, you know, you only live once, hey, it's all good, let's do it, you know, whatever. This selfie culture, this fake bullshit culture. Everybody wants to go around, oh, I eat organic food and I go to the gym and I do this and that, yet they're getting Botox. They're inking themselves up left and right with tattoos, which is all different metal oxides, titanium oxide, yet you're so worried about organic and all it is bullshit. You know, people need to stop being fake. You're gonna own it, own it. The tattoo agenda, it's one thing to have a tattoo or a couple tattoos, but people are getting them because they think it's a style right now. Same thing with the colored hair and all of this stuff. They think it's a style. You're putting something permanent into your body, into your skin. Actually heats up differently than your skin when you're in the sun. That area is going to heat up faster. On top of all the metaphysical aspects, you're basically imbibing the energy of the person that gave you the tattoo, which many tattoo artists sadly are drug addicts. Some are great people and great artists and all of that stuff, but you're talking about energy. And then your people are putting symbols on them that they know nothing about. Indian symbols, religious symbols. Like someone said, you start taking on these symbols because you like the good part of it. You're also attracting the demonic part of it. Every one of these religions and symbols have their own sets of demons that you're pretty much opening yourself up to because you think it looks cool. So everybody's working on the face and they're screaming about this and that and organic and climate change. Meanwhile, on the back end, they're doing everything that, you know, totally opposite. Or don't understand the other half of the story. It's just a sad state of affairs. Sad state of affairs. And they're looking to criticize everybody for doing whatever they want to do. Don't let them make you feel guilty. That's the whole goal. I used metal straws before they were talking about this shit because I don't want to keep buying straws. They don't even talk about that aspect. Oh, it's more economical to get a permanent straw. No, you're killing the ocean. What about all the nuclear radiation dumped in the ocean? You kidding me? The plastic. Who gave you plastic? Science gave you plastic. Who gave you plastic soda bottles? Science. What were you using before that? Paper bags and glass bottles. If we stayed using paper bags and glass bottles, you wouldn't have half the pollution issue. Yeah, you might have some broken glass, but glass isn't toxic. But science gave you plastic. The biggest invention of science. That now you got BPA in your system, raising your estrogen levels because it leached out all the plastic. And now they gave you a better plastic. Oh, but the better plastic floats in the ocean. The animals eat it. You know, this brand of science we got is a bunch of bullshit. And people need to stop with this. Oh, science. Trace every pollution back on the planet and you're going to come to fucking mainstream science. Enough of this bullshit. Started blaming you and me for this bullshit. You got to be kidding me. The freaking the amount of pollution in the world, it came from a corporate government level. Don't even talk about the pollution the military has left around the world. So don't start feeling guilty. You need to change every one of your little habits because somehow it's going to affect the climate. If you want to start affecting the climate, you start in China and you start in India. You don't start in fucking America. That's got more regulations than any damn place in the world. And by that notion, Trump is probably the cleanest environmentalist on the planet if he's bringing companies back to this country. You're taking a company that's in India or China that's working under no regulations, totally polluting, and they come back to America and they're under regulations. Yeah, you're helping the environment. You know, he's making some shit more lenient, but just in general, these places, I seen a thing in Thailand, I believe it was, they're literally burning plastic. The trash that they get, the non-recyclables and all of the waste, they burn it to make, I forget what they were making, it was palm oil or some shit. And they're supposedly trying to close these places down, but they're literally throwing plastic into the incinerator as fuel. Plastic. So, you know, that shit needs to be shut down before they start talking to you and me about this bullshit. Most toxic things are going on all around the world. Saw a video in Russia, Bald and Bankrupt, great channel. He just went to this, one of the most toxic cities in Russia. They releases straight arsenic out of the factory. The air is filled with arsenic. You know, no big deal. America, you gotta work it out. So, alright folks, we'll catch up again.